Okay, we're going to start the meeting, and we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I will open the October 22nd Buckingham Township Board of Supervisors meeting. And is there public comment? Any public comment? I figured if you're here, there's public comment.
My name is Stephen Morrison, 3781 Church School Road. We bought our house in 2019 after about 20 years of research. The one thing I didn't figure out was the water. So when they built Fieldstone, they did all the plans of where the water was going to go, how much water, blah, blah, blah. Found out that at their property line, their problem ends. It becomes everybody else's. So the previous owner had tried to contact the township over and over and over. Never got anywhere. He told us, ain't gonna happen. Well, wrong. He was wrong. I got a hold of Mr. Hines, and within a very short time, he came out, met with myself and a couple of other neighbors, sent his crew out, cleaned out the ditch down below, because they went from a pipe that was this big to a ditch that was literally that big. So now it's a lot deeper. Then that took care of a lot of it, so 4 of us weren't getting flooded anymore, for the most part. And then he came back out and did some other little work, and did a little curb right in front of our drive, because the water is just gonna come off the road. So, if anything, Mr. Hines and his crew's a big attaboy. I really appreciate it. Very professional, easy to work with, great. Second thing, this thing with the warehouse and all this other, and then all of a sudden we see this announcement that that's all changed and now it's gonna be a subdivision. You know, I mean, my daddy taught me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. There seems to be a lot of weird crap going on. The lawyers hadn't even known about it, and all of a sudden, somebody decided, amongst somebody on that panel there, that will make this announcement that it's no longer a problem, it's gonna be something else. So anyway, I'm very disappointed in this board. Thank you. Make sure you give Mr. Hines an attaboy and a donut.
We will.
got
Thank you.
that? Anybody else? Lady in the orange shirt?
Hi there, my name is Sarah, Sarah Cohen. I live off of Street Road, so a Buckingham resident. I've been here in the past to express concerns about the proposed spray field up near Mechanicsville. I'm probably about a half a mile away and have some concerns about, actually have a lot of concerns about PFAS exposure and how that the effluent will impact and add contaminants to groundwater. I was really, really excited when I saw the newsletter for the PFAS remediation, and I immediately thought that what that meant was that the water for, all the effluent was actually going to be pre-treated prior to it being applied to active spray fields, and that seems to be not the case, correct?
The article you're referring to has to do with drinking water wells,
Yeah.
which is different from spray fields. They're right now, and I am not an engineer, so I can answer as best I can. But
Water engineer.
I'm not. Yes, and he's not a water engineer either. So, but there is no treatment at this time for PFAS in spray fields.
Spray fields, wastewater,
Right.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about are drinking water wells.
Right, right. And I'm happy to. I think what's his name?
Steve.
Yeah.
Clark.
Steve Clark. Yeah, I have spoken to him, and I actually, when I saw that the Doylestown was granted that, big grant to kind of help remediate their waters, I kind of reached out to them and was kind of speaking to them to
And that's drinking water also.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that he had mentioned, was saying like, oh, I need to kind of kick the can or defer this because, I'm kind of in this silo. And I can bring to your guys' attention, and I'm happy to share at a later time why it doesn't make a lot of sense for those to be treated as silos, as if they don't touch or interact in any way, because ultimately that same water, whether it's ground application or potable water, it's still being processed. It still eventually merges into the same cycle. But I'm happy to. Today's not the day for that, but I'm happy to share that if you think that would be a valuable resource.
We're happy to talk to you, and I'm definitely happy to have people that have more knowledge than I to talk about it. And we are looking, I actually have a meeting next week with our Environmental Advisory Commission, because we are going to schedule, and this is a general thing on spray fields, just educational and what is a spray field and how is it, because you are right, they are unconnected, but
Yeah.
obviously, the water that comes out of the well that is then treated for our drinking water is part of the same system that has that wastewater. So, but there's no, right now, universally, there's not a direct, like a secondary, when you get to the wastewater side, treatment on that. But we do want to do that, and we are looking at dates when we're going to do that. It will probably be in the winter, like February, March, and we will advertise that, and we can let you guys know too, because I think we have your contact info. We're happy to let you know too, and that will be more general one with experts that know a lot more about it than I. I'm working in it many years. I know a good amount, but I'm not an expert.
Yeah. I do value and appreciate some of the attempts that you've made to bring more public awareness, to help notify people to better understand how they need to remediate their own systems. But I do have to acknowledge that not everyone across the board is probably getting those newsletters, and not everyone is probably in a position feasibly to be able to put those systems in. So I'm going to share with you something, and by the way, I've personally put in like a partial, ROI system, although I would love to be able to afford to be able to do that for my full home, but that's at additional cost. So this is really me just kind of advocating for other people that I know are in the community that are vulnerable. I did see your, Safe to Sip newsletter, and I wanted to speak to that with you.
Sure.
So, obviously, this is regarding the PFAS, the spray fields, and the groundwater concerns that I have and others have. The township's responsibility must go beyond minimum regulatory compliance and reflect a deeper commitment to public health, transparency, and environmental fairness. I want to take a moment to bring attention to something that affects all of us in Buckingham Township, especially those of us relying on private wells for drinking water. The township has been moving forward with expanding its spray irrigation infrastructure, a system that disperses treated wastewater onto open fields to recharge groundwater. While this may sound harmless, there are serious questions about the long-term safety and oversight of this practice, especially in the areas like ours with karst terrain, limestone bedrock that allows contaminants to move quickly through the groundwater. And I do want to mention that I really hope and advocate that as you're moving investigating this potential project, that whatever environmental agency that you are working with, that they are doing a thorough, geological study, because
Oh, absolutely. And everything,
Yep.
just so you know, everything goes through the Department of Environmental Protection. We have our water engineer. We're very, very early. We're only in, we've dug some monitoring wells just to get a little bit of a baseline. So just starting, we don't even have any results yet or anything. We have a hydrogeologist that we've hired to do that. So this is not.
That's a recent development, because I think I checked with Stephen in the past, and he said that wasn't anything that was going to be done or hasn't been done in the past.
Literally in the last couple days.
It's in the process.
And that's to get a baseline, and that's using the hydrogeologist to see where does groundwater flow, where, are there any contaminants out on that property now, or that kind of thing. And very beginning. So I know, obviously when we see things moving, it's like, oh wait, is there a lot of information? And there's very, very little. But as we get more and more, we'll have that. And looking also at your own sites, going back to a lot of people have their own wells, but they also have their own septic systems. I know your development does also. And that's one thing that we also, while we also want to do something on spray fields in the winter, we're going to have another program helping the people that have private systems, also reminding them, to get things pumped, get it checked out, doing all the things that they should do to maintain their own systems too, so that they don't accidentally contaminate their wells.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for speaking to that. And again,
Sure.
I just feel like it's important for me to just make sure that I'm communicating in a tone that you understand. It's that I want to work as a, like an alliance.
Sure.
That this isn't meant to be, like an attack or come across as defensive. This is really out of the sincerity of feeling vulnerable and feeling concerned.
Absolutely.
So we all know, and I've seen newsletters of, you kind of already stating that PFAS is a known threat, that it, bioaccumulates, can cause cancers, etc. So I'm going to just kind of scroll through that.
Sure.
And then, I guess, I would say that, I want to feel that I'm included in the Safe to Sip initiative.
Okay.
And there was an aspect that felt kind of unfair, and I felt vulnerable, because I have to do all these other things to make sure that I'm protecting myself from contaminants. The Safe to Sip campaign provides assurance about the quality of public water systems, but it does not protect or speak to the many residents on private wells, some of whom live in close proximity to both current and proposed spray irrigation sites. It was stated that PFAS is only monitored in public water systems and that private wells are not the township's concern.
I don't know if it's not the township's concern, it's that we don't have the power to go out and monitor individual wells. I mean, we monitor our own, we are mandated to monitor our own, but we would anyway, and we are regulated by the Department of Environmental Protection and the EPA, when you're looking at the federal level, but we don't have that, and that's why we are trying to, obviously we are responsible for the public water system, but we are trying to get with the Safe to Sip information out, because yes, there are many people that have private wells and private wastewater systems, and we want to get that information out to them also, so that is part of that.
And I happen to be one of those people.
Me
I
too.
have private well and,
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Septic system. And actually, I'll just kudos Stephanie. We were at an EAC meeting last week, and that's when we talked about Environmental Advisory Commission, and we talked about the water renewing or rescheduling the water program, which I think will be really a good thing for you. I think you'll learn a lot and you'll bring a lot to the conversation, and that'll be good.
Yeah.
And we talked about that part of that will be educating people with private wells
And
so-
septic systems.
Thank you.
Yeah, because Doylestown Township.
And I'll just make I was listening to what you had to say. You were saying you would hope that we would have our public water would at least meet the minimum of the requirements. Our public water already is beyond what the minimum requirement is, and we just got a $2 million grant for the Cold Spring system to work on the PFAS issue and upgrade the water system. So, but before we even start upgrading, we're already up above what, not above the PFAS, but we're beyond meeting the requirements and then some.
And when you say how you're concerned, I'm really glad to hear that, because
Yes,
I
thank
am
you.
too. You know why? Because I actually live in public water and sewer, right? And as many of you do out in the audience, I have children and I care for them. And so I am looking as a resident, not just even as a supervisor. So you make sure, like, I get reports sent to me, not just me as a resident. I get reports sent on our water system. I know they I don't know how they pick it, but they have different houses every year test their water, and we pick it up and we test it. So I'm with you. So I see what's happening, and I'm super confident in it because I use it. If I wasn't confident, I wouldn't be using it.
Yeah.
And we'll bring back too what I'm thinking. We did. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But the EAC in the township, we did have 2 programs last year, and one was on water and one was on stormwater. And we actually did give a lot of information at that time. PFAS was still kind of new. EPA hadn't had their regs up yet, so we had a little bit of information, but not as much as we have now. But I know EAC, I know Jim was able to get some even water testing kits through Penn State. I don't know that they tested for everything because I was more in charge of doing the public side. They were in charge of doing the private side. So we will have also in our discussion some things about, what the private well owners and wastewater owners can do and might be able to assist them with some of that.
And you can get those at the
The Penn State Extension.
which is now at the Wrightstown Grange Fair.
Well, and Jim was saying at our meeting, there are carbon filters now you can put right on your sink
If you have a
that are
well,
very effective.
not public water.
Correct.
Yes.
But even now, we can put it right on our where you drink your water from, we get your drinking water from, you can
Yeah.
put that on.
Yes.
Right.
It's not very expensive, I looked it up.
Yeah, it didn't sound like
Yeah,
it.
the
It sounded
technology
easy.
is
It's
really making it more affordable than it was when this was all starting.
I
Yeah.
think that it's great that you have such confidence, but personally, and I won't speak for everyone, but I know that just based on the newsletters alone internally that have been distributed by the township, I would say that I have been able to see multiple inconsistencies that just, it's like there's nothing wrong with the water, it's not toxic, followed by another previous one a newsletter that outlines exactly the understanding of PFAS and all of the contaminants and all of these other organic and inorganic matter that impact the health of the water, and then and even stating at great length how it bioaccumulates. And so this was distributed by the township, only then to have another thing say it's not toxic, it's safe, but also we now are remediating the water so that it's safe. and then, kind of seeing other tests where there's, elevated results, not only with like my neighbors, but, at CB East and other places as
And
well.
that's not our
So-
system.
Yeah, CBE
Well,
says
well,
it's
I
not
can,
a
I
system.
can tell you, you should
So
be
this is
able
about
to.
me being able to restore, like, and have the same kind of confidence when I just see these kind of like internal inconsistencies.
Well, really, if you take the Safe to Sip articles from each newsletter, they build on each other. So what we say is, so there were, and I'm probably getting too much into it, but there were the Department of Environmental Protection put out levels. So cleanup levels, or what they thought for maximum contaminant levels, what you should have in your wells. And they had that at like 14 and 13 for parts per trillion. Parts per trillion, really, really small, But that's what they put out. And all of our wells in Buckingham Township are well below that. So yes, we are good. EPA, so they're above, they're the federal regs. So Environmental Protection Agency. They came out, they said, you know what, we're looking at this. They first started with an advisory of 70 parts per trillion. They were actually a lot higher than Pennsylvania. But then they looked at it again and they said, you know what, because of the accumulation and everything, we want it lower. And the people that are able to take it out of the water the most are the people that we regulate and have to do that. So we're going to mandate, because we can't regulate everyone. And I'm not knocking them. This is actually in the written thing, that you can't regulate everyone. We're going to regulate under the Safe Drinking Water Act, under, our regulations. We're going to regulate anyone who has public water systems. And they set it down to 4 parts per trillion. When you go from 70, even 14, to 4 parts per trillion, how small? When you're testing, that basically means almost zero. It's basically zero.
And
So
if I could just add to that for one moment, is that this is such an emerging contaminant and they're changing the levels so quickly. So again, it's like one of these things where it's like, if they're saying this amount was safe, and then they drastically change that number, you can see how concerned we are.
Yeah.
At even that number, they're going to come back and say that
Sure.
number should be even lower.
It-
And we're
it-
going, we don't even really want this here in the first place.
well,
And
I
then
think
what
you
other,
never
like,
want
and
it there
then-
in the first place.
and
And
then,
yeah.
And then if it's
Sure.
going to be there and we don't have a choice, then like what kind of assurance do we have, if any, like where we feel that you are aligned with our vulnerability, with something that is being added to, added to our, potentially being added to our groundwater. So, it just puts us like what we feel in a vulnerable situation, and especially when it's saying private wells are private wells and it's not our problem. So,
We're not
obviously-
There's nothing in that article that said
Yeah.
private wells are not our problem. We don't
test.
regulate
We don't test
private
that.
wells. And then we put information and gave some websites and gave some additional websites online, and we're happy to
I guess what I'm
even
trying to
give you more
understand
to
is-
give you. We want to educate you, but we can't go in to
Yeah,
your
that-
home and
that
do
I
anything.
understand, but I guess what I'm pointing to is obviously the concern, how you're talking about, like how that number had changed so drastically, right? And so then it was kind of a call to action because the EPA had changed that
Can
number.
I just make one comment?
Yeah.
I know I'm not.
No, please.
So at the EAC, which actually it's full of information about this sort of thing. We talk about all these different
Yeah.
issues in Buckingham Township. But one of the things that I learned from Jim is that it is an emerging technology.
Absolutely.
And so what happened was that as, it started out with the 70, right, went down to 14, went to, as they are able to discover and more the different ways that PFAS appear in our water. So it isn't that they were hiding anything so much
No.
as
That's what I'm pointing to
and so
the jump.
as they come along with ways
Absolutely.
of treating it,
Mm-hmm.
then because this is going to be an ongoing situation. It really is. But one of the things for right away that you could do, and we could send that to her right, Maggie, the little link that Jim sent us on the filter that you can put on your drinking water at your, your sink in your kitchen as an example. And that would, for very little money, and that actually, while you're being concerned, right away you can go in there and reduce your exposure.
And as Stephanie pointed out, and I'm glad you said that, it's even the testing technology that was happening. I mean, they are now set on the 4 parts per trillion because they found out a way that they can actually test to that. That's not, when we're looking at most of the contaminants in water that you test for, we're talking like parts per million, parts per billion, like much bigger testing. They got to the technology and the technology to treat it, that it's basically not detectable, but you can't have anything that's never not detectable. And PFAS is so prevalent, and I probably put in the article, I mean, they've tested rainwater and it tests for PFAS. So it is everywhere, but we can do the best we can, and now at this time we have the technology to be able to bring them down below the EPA levels. And that is what you're seeing in a few of our wells, and that's what we are keeping everyone informed of, is the projects we're doing to make sure that our wells are below the lowest levels and that are set by EPA.
Which I applaud, and
Yeah.
Good, good.
but again, it's also like not within my it's not within my neighborhood, it's not within my area. So obviously, and I'm going to be in relatively close proximity to the spray field. So I guess really quick, I'll just share like some of the things that I would hope that some call to action items, because I don't want to take any more of your time, but I really appreciate you guys all listening so attentively.
Lay it on us.
If there was any way to extend PFAS testing, modeling, and monitoring to include private well users, obviously that would be ideal. Clearly disclose which locations are being treated, tested, and monitored and which are not. Release all engineering reports, consultant assessments, and DOP communications related to PFAS presence, groundwater connectivity, and potential exposure zones. And provide a timeline and community engagement process for public input before finalizing any additional spray field contracts or expansions.
Okay.
Okay, Lori?
For your time.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yes, Celeste Callahan, 3384 West Street. We have a document that you can read at your leisure that we assembled.
You know what? Stand by the mic, get the mic up to your mouth, and then talk.
Yeah.
Then we can all hear you. Can you pull it off?
Yeah.
Or just tip it down.
Or tip it down?
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you.
So this is a document that we, our group of neighbors and those affected, assembled and wanted to distribute to you as our understanding of several points about wastewater, irrigation, etc. I'm curious, was there ever or will there be included in your hydrogeological study that the gentleman that you have hired, is he going to tell us more about the aquifer that is under the spray field? Because that's where we get our water. Is that part of what's tested when they drill the 6 wells?
I can't speak to everything. I mean, I think, yeah, unfortunately, not being a hydrogeologist or an engineer, I mean, they're going to look at groundwater flow. He's going to look at things, but we're happy to get some specific questions. I know we got some answers for you in general, but if you have a list and maybe it's in this document you presented tonight, Steve is happy to get them directly from the source, the hydrogeologist, and maybe if there's something that you really want to look at that isn't maybe typically looked at, but it's something that he could, maybe we can include that in. So off the cuff, and obviously not being able to read your document this quick, we can, if you have those, follow-up questions or the things, the concerns or the questions for what exactly is the hydrogeologist going to look for, I'm happy to
That
get
would
some
be
of that
really good.
information
We
for you.
appreciate that.
Sure.
I know you haven't designed it yet, but
Correct.
have you thought about any kind of buffer zones or
Absolutely.
Around the perimeter to protect those of us who are vulnerable?
Of course,
Yep.
yes, and I had mentioned to you. I mean, we talked to that. Even the monitoring wells where they're placed, they're normally placed outside of where you would think the spray field would be. So they're not placed in the middle of where you would think the spray field would be. Now, granted, we don't know exactly where. As I said, we're doing that first, but they're usually outside. So the spray field would be in there. And there's we have offered, and we will talk to you guys as we're getting more information, and we're planning the spray field and where that would be, and the buffers, to have you involved in that. I mean, you're right there. We understand that, and we want to be good neighbors to you. And there are some, beautiful buffering we can do to make it, just a great property to live next to. So yes, that's all that the buffering. There are, certain requirements about spraying and how far away you are to properties and all that. But even in addition to that, we're going to talk to you about, what works and, what works in the neighborhood. So yes,
So
we're just not there yet.
Yeah, the monitoring wells are dug and they're capped and we
Right.
can see them. How do they actually, do you know anything about how they test the water? Is it just I know it's 50 to 70 feet or 80
Correct.
feet deep. Do they just drop a test tube on a string?
I don't know exactly how it does it, but I can tell you
It's pretty close
it's
to that.
something similar to that. These aren't pumping, these aren't drinking water wells, so they're not pumping water out of the aquifer. They're not doing anything like that. I haven't been out there when he drops the line in the well, but it's typically something like that. Yes, where it's going down there and
There's
just doing that.
There's a tool that does that
I'm
a little
sure.
bit
Yes.
more controlled than just dumping a test tube down. So.
Yes.
Yeah, but basically, there's nothing other than a drilled hole that goes down that deep, just
Yeah.
like our own well is. Okay. A question I have, last meeting I asked if the property was within the agricultural security area, and you said yes. I think
Yes.
it happened in 2024. Why did whomever decided this was a good location, why was that not taken into consideration when they chose this chunk of land?
Well, I think what was said in the last meeting was that there is some litigation going on about that property, and that the township would not want to go into, a lot of conversation about specifics that might be, discussed in that. So I think as far as questions on that, I would advise that you probably shouldn't answer
Well,
them.
that's the
Sorry.
AGA.
But-
It just means that you have the right to farm your property.
Yeah.
That's all. It means you're protected from, if a neighbor comes down and says that your tractor's too noisy or you're harvesting too late, etc.
It's usually, protection
protect-
against like
protection for
nuisance
farmers.
claims, like
Oh, okay.
that silo, I just moved in and that silo's going and I don't like it, it's too loud, they can't farm the property.
Fertilizer is just
Fertilizer is a
spraying,
big one.
yeah.
That kind of thing, that's why you do that.
All right. I know you have a few more questions.
Well, yes, because we it's, as it
I
says
know,
on
you
the
have-
agenda, we
Yeah,
do 30
30
minutes of
minutes.
public comment, but I don't really want you guys to have to sit around while we do the meeting. So if anyone has public comment, come on up and share, please.
Yeah, she just has a few more
That's
questions.
fine.
It's true. Diane Treat, 5816 Mechanicsville Road. So again, they drilled, our home is also in the middle of the proposed spray fields, and of course, we feel incredibly vulnerable. I don't know if you've walked my property, but over the past 10 years, we've had put quite a bit of work into our property. We sit outside from early spring until almost it's too cold to go outside. I have planted 10 gardens. I have multiple sitting areas. So I am incredibly distressed with spray fields surrounding me, as I think anybody would be. We have a private well, we have private sewage. Again, I know that you said you would be transparent, you will allow us to plan with you. However, I'm confused by that because 6 wells were dug on the property, but you didn't tell me that. I had to learn that through a neighbor. So, of course, that sends a red flag, like, oh, they dug 6 wells? What do these wells do? Why is one only 185 yards from my well? What's happening? So
From
I'm
your property line. Yes.
So I'm asking that you be a little bit more transparent. I have called, I have made myself available. I know Celeste as well feels that we want to be a huge part of this if this is going to move forward regardless. That being said, I know that the 6 wells were dug. You don't know the procedure for how the water is being tested. It's something like on a line. But will I be able to get the water results each time without having to file a right to know?
Yes, I mean we can certainly do that again. They were just dug. I know you've talked to Steve a few times. I think we're trying to just get that first baseline from the hydrogeologist. So and so that we can start planning with your input the spray fields. Like each time we're out there to just look at something, we haven't called you, but there's no plan yet. So that's
There's no monitoring.
but we
either.
can certainly do that.
And it's important to have the baseline. So if something changes, or changes for you, then we have a baseline that before anything else started.
Right.
Started.
And we do continue
Yeah.
to monitor in monitoring wells, just like the spray field that's next to you on the other side. That's in existence right now at Stony Mead. Like there are monitoring wells around there, and we make we have the information on those. So yeah, the information can be available. We just don't have it currently because they were just dug.
Okay. And then research indicates that PFSAs in treated wastewater can aerosolize when sprayed, potentially leading to airborne exposure and further groundwater contamination. Has the township surveyed the area of the proposed spray field project and documented how strong that wind is on the property? We actually have a fountain in the middle of our property, several, but one that's just sort of in the middle before the eating area. And it will actually, the water will actually be blown completely out of the fountain. That's how bad that wind whips. And that's very concerning for me because if I'm being surrounded by spray fields and I'm sitting outside, how much of that aerosol is going to be blowing all over me, all over my I have children, all over my children, all over my neighbor. Has anybody been out there to test that?
Well, things like wind, and as we're looking at spray, as we're planning the spray fields, as we're planning the nozzles and the placement and everything, all of those things come into play. And the spray does not go off the property. There are the buffers. I understand you're talking about aerosols and everything like that. And again, I am not the expert. But that all comes into play. But that's not something you don't go out and just test the wind now. Like, that's not the first thing. We're looking at, the monitoring wells first and the soils. And as we get into planning, that's certainly something that we can look at, because you have to look at the spray and how much you can spray in what direction and everything like that. So yes, it comes into play, but that's not something we would immediately go out and like look at wind without looking at some of the other things first.
But it's always a consideration.
Yeah.
Because it's the neighbors, the surrounding neighbors are the first point of consideration. I mean, that's part of the planning.
And the spray fields.
And we're in the very tiny baby steps of
And
that.
the spray
I'm
fields.
sorry that you didn't get notification that they were test wells, and we'll correct that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
And they don't spray when it's windy.
And they don't
don't
spray.
And
them.
they don't.
That's
spray when
true,
it's windy.
too.
And that's not a technical term, but
Yeah.
No,
And
but we
I'm
do
not a
even
water engineer.
and no, but that's good to bring
But they
up.
don't
Even
spray
in
it,
the
so-
operation,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you take it into consideration in the planning, but in the
The cooks
operation,
around it.
they also take it into
I
consideration.
just-
Plus, Maximus.
Yep. Alrighty. Do you have a comment?
I was gonna wait till the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just
Okay.
run, you want me
Paul?
Just say, I think John should say that.
Okay, yeah, I just want to let everyone know that a very dear friend of ours, Wayne Ewer, passed away last Friday, and he was a wonderful member of the township. He was on the Midway Fire Company for 53 years. He worked for the township for over 47, and he's going to be dearly missed. I mean, he was the welder for the township. He just was a great craftsman. So
He was a great guy.
he was a super good guy, and we're gonna miss him dearly. And he didn't even make it to 70, 69.
And one of our staff members who is a volunteer fireman.
Yep.
Which is
For 53 years.
something that we really look for, because we need every available body during the day. Yeah,
So
thank you.
Wayne, we're gonna miss you.
Yes, we are. Paul, anything?
No.
Okay. Thank you for coming out for public comment, and it is certainly incumbent on us to keep you informed. So,
We appreciate it.
yep, yep.
Thank you.
Happy fall. There's a nip in the air, that's my comment.
That's why I got a sweater on. And the town-
Okay.
Medication take back.
So the township, where did my, there we go. Township announcements, medication take-back day, October 25th, from 10 to 2. Safely dispose of your unused, unneeded, expired medications at the township building or at Midway Fire Company on Route 413. And by the way, that container for,
I was just gonna say that.
yeah, for medication drop-off, it's open all the time. You don't have to wait for medication drop-off.
And you're safe dropping it off, it's in the police, it's
Foyer.
always open, it's being monitored, so you're very safe going there. If you have medication, but you might be a
That
little
from the
bit nervous
refrigerator?
dropping it off, you're completely safe.
And
Oh, I just
to the
took some
point
out
of the
regular
public
refrigerator.
comment, you don't wanna put medication in your trash,
Right.
down your toilet, in your sink, or any ways that it will get into the water or
Groundwater.
groundwater, yeah.
Especially
So thank you.
antibiotics.
Gave some
Absolutely.
reason to remind myself of that too, and I drop
This
everything
works
off.
so good.
Yard waste pickup for fall. Free recycle bags can be picked up at the township administration offices until November 14th. Limit 25 bags per household. Last but not last, Election Day, November 4th. Make sure you come out and vote. The township administration office will be closed on November 11th, 2025 in observance of Veterans Day. And the Board of Supervisors work session and business meeting will be held on November 12th and December 17th. And all other November and December meeting dates have been canceled, our meetings. And the reason we shifted because of the holiday, because our meeting falls right on those weeks, so.
The
As much
dates-
as
the
we love
dates were
this, we're not
canceled.
coming on the day
Yeah.
before Thanksgiving.
Right.
Okay.
Nope.
Open house, Sunday, November 9th, 1 to 3 at Mount Gilead Church, part of our,
November 9th, yeah, November
yeah,
9th.
Buckingham 325. Mount Gilead's a wonderful, little church. And mark your calendars for the Town and Country production dress rehearsal of Shrek the Musical, Wednesday, November 5th at 7:30. Have to be at the theater at 7:15, and we come to the township, sign up, and you have free tickets, a limit of 6. But that would be really fun and cool for kids. I think that's it.
I just want to say Mount Gilead was part of the Underground Railroad.
Yes,
It
it
was.
was.
Mhm.
Yep, yep. Yeah, and when I go to Forest Grove Church, which is a tiny little church, and when I had the children's choir there 100 years ago, we sang at Mount Gilead, and it was quite an experience. So, all right, number 3. I move that we approve payment request number 8, the final payment for the Durstein Company LLC for work completed on the pump station generators and upgrades, Phase 3, General Contract BT 23-01, in the
Second.
amount of $53,250.
Second.
Questions? My comment is only paid for by the customers, not us that have private well. All in favor?
Aye.
I move that we approve payroll dated September 25th, 2025, and October 9th, 2025, and the bill list for the meeting of October 22nd.
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 4. I move that we approve the draft supervisor minutes of September 24th work session and the September 24th regular business meeting.
Second.
Anybody questions? Anybody up here have comments?
I read through.
Lori, you got corrections and everything? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 5, I move that we consider accepting for inclusion in the township records various departmental minutes and advisory board minutes, building and zoning monthly stats for September 2025, safety committee, August 25th, 2025, and EAC, Stephanie, we got all our minutes in. May 21st, June 18th, 7/16, all 2025. This, I'll make my comment. I have a
Second.
Okay, my comment is, this is an amazing committee, and we are just getting so much done. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 6, I move that we approve resolution number 2657, Township of Buckingham, Bucks County, a resolution authorizing the submission of a statewide local share assessment grant application to the Commonwealth Financing Authority.
Second.
Okay, and I have a note from Laurie requesting $1 million max amount to be used for a Sutphin custom pumper fire engine.
Yes, a fire engine for Midway Fire Company,
Nice.
as they cannot apply as a fire company, but we can apply
As
on
a township.
as a township
Yeah.
on their behalf.
Yeah, and Midway came into our work session, I think 2 months ago, and talked about this, and so we are more than happy to
They're-
support.
Yep, they're expensive and they take years to get.
Exactly,
Unfortunately.
exactly. And I went to their open house, and I think there were only like 3 people there, so we're gonna be working with them to maybe change where their open house is,
Yes.
so it's more, inviting for our township residents. So,
Mhm.
anyway, enough of that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I know you meant aye. Did you say aye?
Oh, I said, I'm sorry.
Okay. Number 7, I move that we approve Resolution 2658, Township of Buckingham, Bucks County, a resolution requesting a statewide local share assessment grant from the, wait a minute. Yeah,
Yes.
from the Commonwealth Financing
There's another one too.
Authority in the amount of $411,201 to be used for, oh, this is sexy, lagoon dredging.
Yes.
Second.
The Commonwealth Financing Authority also has water and wastewater grants.
Okay.
So this would be your wastewater. Your next item will be your water.
Okay, sounds great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 8, I move that we approve resolution number 2659, Township of Buckingham, Bucks County, PA, a resolution requesting a statewide local share assessment grant from the Commonwealth Financing Authority in the amount of $285,614.64 to be used for tank reconditioning.
Second.
Okay, questions, comments? We're just gonna keep everything going the best it should be.
That's 3 grants in one night.
Yep, thank you.
More to come.
All in
Thanks,
favor?
Dana.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 9, I move that we accept the developer's request to extend the date by which improvements are to be completed as set forth in the residential development contract to October 27th, 2026 between Sarah Colamarino Kuczynski and Richard Kuczynski and Buckingham Township for Lot 1 of the Trisecki Tract, Township File SA 2016-02, tax map parcel 06-006-039-011.
Second.
And
Dan has
before you
comment.
vote on it, I just would like to mention, Mr. Kroczynski completed his work about a year ago in October. They had some follow-up to do with the Conservation District to get their NPDS closed, which they did complete in February. I think he thought he was done with his project. Because it's a subdivision, technically goes through the, acceptance dedication process and then a formal maintenance bond period. In speaking with him and with staff, we thought it would be best just to keep the existing agreement open for another year, and then just prior to the expiration, we would do our normal maintenance bond inspection like we would if we had a maintenance bond, and release all the funds at that time if everything has been done. Because he was legitimately done in October last year, so toward the end of this current cycle of the agreement, we'll go out and do a final maintenance bond check and make sure all this stuff is still in working order. So there won't be a formal dedication, but we'll be recommending that you waive, we'll dedicate it next year, and then we'll recommend that you waive the maintenance bond. So just put that on,
Okay.
on it, so that we don't
Good.
forget it next time.
Okay, that's good. And this is actually, we preserved Tom Trisecki and his mother's farm at Mechanicsville and 413 several years before this. And then his uncle, Tom's uncle, passed away and left Tom the property on Long Lane.
Long
That's
Lane.
the property that this is. And it's, I'm just looking because I can't resist. Is it like 80 acres, something
I
like
don't
that?
remember the acreage, but this lot actually takes access off of Bittersweet.
Right,
Yeah.
it's,
So it kind of is completely separate from the farm, and it was well done to kind of package it with.
Off Indian Spring.
Yes, and it
Indian
comes in off
Spring,
Indian
Bittersweet.
Spring with all the
Yeah.
other lots
Yeah.
along Bittersweet, so.
and it's tucked back in there, there's some forest in there.
Yep.
And just to make a comment, when we preserve a property, we, the board, we always try to place, where a house is gonna, cartilage for a house, on an owner would be built. And also in this case, Tom wanted to take a lot, it's actually 2 lots that got to be 1 lot off. And we absolutely kill ourselves not to violate any areas that can be used to be farmed, can be used in farming. So that's the critical thing, and this one worked out. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see. Number 10, I move that we accept the offer of extension from McKee to February 1st, 2026. Only a couple of months?
Okay. Second.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Questions or comments? I made my comment, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Should I? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 11, I move that we reapprove Penn's Purchase 2 major subdivision Township File SA 2018-04 tax map parcel 060116-015 in order that the plans may be recorded.
Second.
Okay, and we have a note that the plans will not be released for recording until the outstanding money due is paid and other requirements are completed. There's a memo,
Okay.
okay? I guess all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, aye. All right, yikes. Let's see, number 12.
Water connection.
I move that we
Oh,
approve.
wait,
Oh.
Maggie, I think John.
Oh, John.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Am I
John.
allowed to ask one quick question?
Yes,
Do I have to get up to the mic?
yes.
So what
Yeah, just say your, just give Lori your name.
You were questions and comments.
Well, first of all,
Bumpus
thank
is
you.
joining.
And I just have one quick question about logistics. Sorry. When could so we reapproved the plans. I think you have them here at the township. I actually have my loan closing tomorrow morning at 8:30 in the morning. And I was going to take everything that you mentioned, all the escrow agreements, developers agreements, all the fees and bills and everything, and bring them over after the closing.
Mhm.
And I wasn't sure how that exchange goes as far as, I'll hand in all the required, there's a list of items, you'll have 100% of them tomorrow. Will I be able to then pick up the plans and run them over to Doylestown to have them recorded after that?
Well,
That's how I've done it
Yeah.
in the past. and
yeah,
now
just give us time to go through the list because I know you are bringing us a lot of things. The other
Sure.
thing, and it's not for tomorrow, but just also note we need the insurance policy, not a certificate of insurance.
Yes, I
So
submitted
make
to
sure that
Craig.
goes through. I mean,
Craig
that
has a copy of the
that
policy.
won't hold up getting the plans, but just as a reminder to you that that needs to get in. So,
I did give that to Craig a long time ago.
okay, great.
Yes.
And it's still current.
As long as it's within
Yeah,
this
it's the
year.
same policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I gave a certificate of that same policy that
Okay.
I'd given Craig, just in case you needed it, I sent it over.
Okay.
Today.
I saw that. So right before, so I was like, okay, let's make sure you have that. But yeah, as long as you just give us some time to like tick everything off
Sure.
and make sure everything adds up, and then we can release the plans to you.
Are they already signed?
I think they have to all be dated.
Okay.
We did have them signed, but
Oh, great.
the last time we did this, but we
Okay.
did not date them because we
Thank you.
can't date them. They're not official until they're dated. Now, you have to have the planning commission sign them, but you can have that over at the county.
I've called him before and he let me stop by.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
So plan time for that. So we need some time to get that in order and to review your things. So if you can bring those after closing and
Yeah.
then maybe the end of the day or Friday pick up the plans. If we're not running around doing other things, we'll try to get them done faster. But
Great.
So
We'll get that
you're
done.
I'm just looking at the memo that our finance director put in our packet. So you're gonna be paying the outstanding legal and engineering escrows and some of these fees and bills that are in arrears.
Yeah, I have everything on the settlement sheet already.
Okay.
Fine.
great.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Sounds
Thank you very
good.
much.
Sorry, I
Appreciate
didn't-
it.
Have a good
Sorry,
night,
I
John.
didn't see your hand.
No, it's
I'll
all
see you
good.
tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, thank you.
You already spoke
we
to
already-
number 12.
Yes, yes,
Is it-
no.
No, consideration,
Did do
okay,
12,
connection.
we did,
Yep,
hence
okay.
purchase.
Yep.
Number 12, I move that we approve a connection
Oh,
of,
sorry.
of the Furlong water system for a single-family residential building lot at 3763 York Road, tax map parcel 060102200002. That's the request.
Yep, second.
Okay. Questions or comments? See Steve. Looks like it's,
This is a new home that's smack in the middle of your furlong system. So it makes sense for them
Yeah.
to connect.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Additional managers items. I move that we approve the HRG Herbert, Roland, and Rubik, Inc., October 8th, 2025, water and wastewater and rate analysis cost proposal / agreement for professional services with an estimated total fee for the report of $40,000.
Second.
Okay. Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect for the public comment tonight. I move that we approve the request submitted by Temple Judea of Bucks County to waive the $75 temporary sign permit fee set by Resolution 2645 to place one sign on York Road to advertise their large rummage sale in November.
Second. That's gonna make Len happy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's good, okay.
And there's
adding
one thing I
Bernardo.
would like you to add. There is an item that was on the posted agenda, but actually was not on the electronic agenda. It is just a developer's request to extend the time. There's no money transactions, no anything like that with that. It's just like the ones you did earlier. So we would like to be able to do this for that developer.
Okay.
Again, it was on the paper agenda, but did not
So you're
be
voting
on
on
there.
one
So you
first.
would have
Yeah.
to vote to add it to the agenda and then vote on the item itself.
Great, okay. So, I move that we add the developer's request to extend the date by which the improvements are to be completed and set forth in the residential, development contract to October 23rd, 2026 between Sharp Homes LLC, Aaron Sharp, Walter Larson, Sarah Larson, and Buckingham Township for, the Bonargo tract, lots 1 and 3. Township file SA 2008-01, tax map parcel 06-006-062, 06-006-062-001, and 06-006-02-002.
Second.
Okay, questions about this or comments? Okay,
We'll
all
just-
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
That's
Now
put-
you have
that's
to
put
vote
back
on
the
it.
agenda.
And, yeah, and now I'm gonna move to accept the developer's request to extend the date by which the improvements are to be completed as set forth in the residential, development contract to October 23rd, 2026 between Sharp Homes LLC, Aaron Sharp, Walter Larson, Sarah Larson, and Buckingham Township for the Bonargo tract, lot 1 and 3, Township file SA 2008-01, tax map parcel 06-006-062, 06-006-06201, 06-006-062-002.
Second.
Okay, now questions or comments again on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
is that it? I think that's it.
That's all I have for that. I do have some executive on personnel and hiring.
Okay, and so I move that we close the October 22nd, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting.
Second.
Okay, done.
Aye.
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 Aye, aye, aye. Okay.